Okay, so in this video, so this is the the next video related to the fast API series. Still we are on the same page, that is still we are exploring this if you go to this particular website like fastapi.trianglo.com, and under the tutorial section, so we are exploring this particular section, SQL relational databases. And we have to explore, as I told you, like we will explore each and everything, but till now we have explored almost 60% of the things. Still 40% of the things are left. So but let's do a very quick revision what we have did till now, as we are doing in every video. So we have created a very basic API. So in the first video, we created a very basic API by importing the fast API class, and then define the instance of the object, and then create a route, and then pass here some metadata information as well regarding the API. In the second video, we could see how to pass the particular metadata information from the some configuration file. So rather than hard coding all this information here, we created one configuration file. We we define all the configuration here. We created a one object, and using the dot operator we are getting this information. In the next video, what we did is we have to deal with the database. So in the configuration we have to define the database, but generally it is recommended that the database information like a username, password, server ID, port number, this should not be hard coded into the configuration. We hard coded the metadata information, so but the other thing should not be hard coded. So we have two options: either we will define into the system environment variable, but if we define into the system environment variable, and if we share this code with someone else, that person will unable to run the code, because that person also has to define the system variable at their end. So the other way is the Python has provided some .env package. So what we did is we created a .env file, and we define our user, password, server, port, database into the .env file, and using the .env module, we are using the load.env function, and we are loading that particular .env file. Once that .env file get loaded, so now it treated as an environment variable. If it is treated as an environment variable, we can easily access using the OS module, like os.get environment. So now we have the database ready. So right, so now we have to connect with the database, and we have to create some tables. So 1 minute, relax. So now we have to, so what we did is we have to connect with the database. So to connect with the database, we are using the SQL Alchemy, and as part of the SQL Alchemy, first we need to create an engine. So we create the engine, and we pass the database URL, and the database URL we are fetching from the our configuration file. Alright, and here we are seeing the how to connect the PostgreSQL. Along with that, I have told you how to connect with the SQLite, and what is the these three, why there are 3 slashes, why there are not 2 slashes, what is the difference between 2 slashes and the 3 slashes. And then we create a one session. Session is basically a workspace for the particular database connection. Alright, so once it is done, then what we do, we have to define the table. So this is we are in the SQL Alchemy, we define the tables in a form of classes. So we define 2 tables, one is the user table and one is the item table. We define all the field, what all the fields are required, and we set up the relationship as well between the user table and the item table. And this user table should be inherited from the base class, and this base class we mention here. Let me show you from the declarative base. We have defined this base class. So this is basically a class. So once this is done, what we did is, so now we have to create the we have to read the metadata, and we have to, metadata means we have to read the particular this because this is we are to create the tables, we need some create table query, right? But we are using the ORM, so it will automatically read the metadata, and it will automatically generate the query like PostgreSQL query. So what is the query? So we are using the base class, we are reading the metadata, the dot metadata, and we are issuing the create all command. And under like it will like read all this metadata, that is user table, item table. So it found 2 tables, but under which database it should the table should be created. So we will write here bind is equal to engine. So under these two databases this table will be get created. So now we have the table. So if I go here, so now we have the item tables, we have the users tables. All right, so we have like everything ready. So next step is, now we have to create one minute, session got hang. So how the actual process will be running? So till now, if you could see, 1 minute, in actual file we have only one route, that is the slash user, and that is also like a hard coded message. Just we created a one, but we will remove this, and to make in like to convert into an actual app. So we just created a get route, get method. Alright, but now like we have to create a user, because we created the table is empty. We have to create the user. So we have to create a REST API, and the REST API will be method is called as a post method, right? So how the whole process will be run is, so from the front end, either from the front end or just by calling the REST API using the Postman tool, or using the curl command, or using our like documentation like Swagger UI documentation, or nowadays we can call it as OpenAI documentation, Open API documentation. So we will like create a one post method with the path create user, and we have to pass some JSON data. Right, so what data like will pass? So we have to pass the data in the form of if I show you models. So the user table contain what all columns: ID column, email column, password column, is active column, right? So ID column will be like automatically generated, because if I have to create my account, how should I know like how many accounts are already exist? So what is the next ID? So that's why like ID is like automatically get generated. So user don't need to worry about the ID column. User just need to pass the email ID and the password, and by default is active will be true. If the user is creating an account, by default it will be set as a true. So user will not maintain this is active, like this is only for our purpose. We will like if the database administrator has to like make any user like inactive, so like they can directly go to the backend database and like change for the particular user is active to false. So from the front end, user just has to pass the email ID and the password. So how the user will pass? So user will send a one request in the form of a JSON, and as part of the JSON, user will send the email, and user will send the password. Alright, so user will like send these two things, but the problem here is user can send like this as well. Like, so in the form of email, user can send 1 2 3, but 1 2 3 we know like it is not a valid email, and password like user can like send ABC. Alright, so 1 2 3 is not the email. So we need a way we can like verify all these information. If it is a string, it should be the user should send as string. If it is a particular email, then it should be proper email address. So there are two ways. Either we can implement our own logic. We will like read all the user data which user and send, and then read each and every field. Okay, apply some regex like using the regex module, parse the particular email and check whether it has a proper email address or not. Then we will check the password, whether it is whether it contains special character or not, whether it contains characters or not, whether it contains numerics or not. And there are, let's suppose, a date field. So we have to again manually check whether it is a date field or not. But as the fast API says that like fast API means like it is a very by using the fast API framework, we can do the development very fast. So the fast API provided some pydantic approach. Right, so using the pydantic approach, we don't have to worry about like what the user are passing. We can just create a model, a pydantic model, right, and we can define like what could be the email type, what could be the password type, right. So if you go to this document, so create the pydantic models. So here the next step is, so till now we have see the create the relationship, now we have to see the create the pydantic models. So now we have to create the pydantic model, because like how the request will deal is, user will send the JSON request, that is user will send this from the front end. Okay, this data will be go into the our fast API backend, right? So once this data will be go, we have to do some kind of checks. So whether the particular field is integer, whether the particular field is string, whether the particular email is proper email or not. So we will do some kind of a validation, and if it is passes the validation, then we will run some business logic. Business logic means like we will run some insert query or any other query, and we will insert the data into the database, whether it is a like a production data or whether it is a test data. But if it is like a, if the detail the user has sent some invalid detail, so let's suppose we are expecting integer and user has sent the string, and if we are expecting string from the front end and user has sent the integer, then we have to like send the response back to the user, rather than like sending processing to the business logic. We have to send back to the user that like you are passing some invalid data. So that is one approach. Like we will ourselves verify the schema. Schema means like whatever the user has been sending, that is the we can say the JSON schema. But fast API has provided some good approach, that is the pydantic models. So as part of the pydantic models, so generally like in the fast API we don't call it as a models, we call it as a schemas. Why? We ideally in the Python world we call it as a model. So if you look at the pydantic docs, so it is a pydantic docs, so it is not a fast API docs, it is a pydantic docs. So in the pydantic docs it called as a like models. So generally pydantic docs, like how the pydantic docs work is, so let me show you 1 minute, where I show you. Yeah, so let's suppose you have to like create a function. A function may be like accept number, and it will accept the number n, and it will do one thing, return n plus 10, right? And if we do accept number and we do 10, and it will return what happened, invalid syntax. Why it is invalid syntax? Def accept number n, and it will return n plus something, and now okay, now it will accept the number, it accept 10. Now it will returning some number. But if we pass hello, we are passing the string, so it will like give us some error, like a type error, like we can't connect like concatenate string with the integer, right? But if we do like define, so this should be integer, and it should like return int, and we define return n plus 10, and now we run that accept number, so we are returning 20. And if we mention hello, so though it is the same concatenated, no. So generally like so it is like we are like so when we define this function like accept function, so like the user can like automatically like pass like anything, right? So we are not saying that n, what could be the n. So n could be like integer, n could be the string, n could be the list, n could be tuples, n could be dictionary, anything. But here like we can explicitly mention, so we using the approach of a Python typing. So where we define the function, yeah, so here like we have defined it, okay, n is of should be integer type and it should return the integer, right? So we are like define here like n should be of integer type. If it is not of integer type, like it will like it will fail, right? So let me exit it. So similarly, like Pydantic has like the fast API use the Pydantic approach. So if we have to define like our route, let me define the route, nano main.py. So let's suppose if we have to define our route @app.post, and here let's suppose the create user route, right? So we have to define we have defined the create user route, and let's suppose we have to run one function, create user function, and it will do something like abc, it will do something, leave the logic for the time being. So but what it will like accept, so from the front end it will accept some user detail, right? So let's suppose it accept a number n, and we type it as an integer. It will like accept the character as well, and it should be a type of string, and it will accept the JSON response as well. Let's suppose it's a JSON response, but what could be the type, because this contains a lot of fields, right? So it could of a email type, it could of a string type, and there could be many field. Let's suppose there could be a date field as well, right? So it should be of the date type, right? And there could be integer field. So here we can't like there is a nothing in the typing module or like inbuilt any argument. Like for the integer we have the int, for the string we have the string, but for this kind of structure we don't have anything available, right? So we have to define some structure for this kind of if there are multiple fields, we will pass that particular structure here. Basically we have to define the schema. So control X. Okay, so generally it is called as a models, right? So that's why like what we will do is, so what will from the front end user will like issue the create user command, it will pass the JSON request, it will come to the fast API. Then rather than like checking the schema whether the user has sent the correct schema or not, we will not check the schema, we will like define one schema, and it will the fast API will like automatically check the particular schema, and if the schema is valid then it will pass to the business logic and it will insert the data into the database. If the schema is invalid, it will like send the user as a response, that is the invalid data. So generally like in the generally it called as a Pydantic models, but in the fast API we will call it as a schema, because otherwise we will get confused, because the database models we are calling it as a like a model, because if you say to avoid confusion between the SQL Alchemy models, because when we define our SQL Alchemy tables, we define into the models.py file, right? So the tables also called as a models, these are also called as a model, and this also like define into a form of classes. So we define into form of classes. So we will get confused, so the user should not get confused, we call it as a schemas. Otherwise generally in the Python world it is called as models, but in the fast API world we will like call it as a schema. So to avoid confusion between the SQL Alchemy models and the Pydantic models, we will use the model.py with the SQL Alchemy models and the schema.py with the Pydantic models, right? So let me clear. So let me first activate the environment, source env bin activate. So I have to accept the data from the user, and I will use the Pydantic approach, and within the Pydantic approach, when I create the function, I have to accept whether the particular field is of which type, that is of which schema type. So like whether it's an integer, whether there is string, but this is not even an integer, this is not even a string, so this is of this type, that is of it should be first email then password, it is of particular this type. So for this type we have to define the schema. So as part of this video we will look at the Pydantic schema. So what we will do is we will like create a one file, schemas.py file, right? So we have created the two tables, one is the user table and one is the item table. So we will define the schema for the users table, alright. So and what our let me show you model. So users for the user table, right? So user table contain 4 field ID, so but ID will not be passed into the JSON. So what will be the next pass? It will pass the email and it will pass the password. So user will pass the email. So in the Pydantic way we will use the colon and we will like define, so email should be of which type, email should be of string type or email should be of which type. So email should be of email type, right? So email str is available in the Pydantic. From Pydantic import email str, so it will automatically do the email validation. Next we have to like pass the password. So to create the user we don't need the ID, we need the email and we need the password. So user will pass the password. So password should be of the type string, right? So but we have defined this just a normal class, but this class should be inherited from the base model class, and this base model class will be like get from the Pydantic. From Pydantic we have to import the base model. So if you look at the Pydantic, not the fast API documentation, even the Pydantic documentation, so if you have to define any kind of do any kind of validation, like if you know the integer then we can pass the integer, if you know the string then we can within the function itself we can pass. But if the user is passing some JSON request, and in the JSON there are multiple fields and we have to validate each and every field, so one approach is to manually validate each and every field or use the Pydantic approach. So as part of the Pydantic approach we will define a one schema, that is the request schema, request data schema. So we will define a request schema, and as part of the schema we will define all the fields, but this schema will be inherited from a one base class, that is the base model. So we have created one base model for a Pydantic import base model, and then we will define our schema. So now if you look at the official documentation, so they are referring it as a schema.py file, and we have clear that why we use the schema rather than the model, even though it is called as a model. But to avoid the confusion between the SQL Alchemy model and the Pydantic model, we will like refer the Pydantic model as a schema, right? So now we have to create a like a schema for the items and schema for the user, right? So we have to create a like a class, let's suppose a class. So the item class will inherit the base model class, and item have like two field, one is the title field, one is the description field. So title could be the string and the description could be the optional string and it could be the none. So whatever the details we want, like we can define here. So as of now we have defined here email str and password, and password is the string type. So schema is ready. To create the user, leave the items part, we are just focusing on the user part, how to create the user. So to create the user we have to pass the some JSON data from the front end, but the user can pass the invalid email or some invalid password or anything. So we have to verify those input data. So rather than manually verifying those data, we created a one schema. So this should be the schema. So user will like it will automatically verify this schema. So save this file. So now we have defined the schema, Alright, so schema is defined, but here like they have defined a lot of schema. Like we have created two tables, one is the item table, one is the user table. So they have defined the schema for both the item table and the user table. We will also define, but leave this for the time being, and we will also see what is the config and ORM mode. Leave this everything, right? So now, so these are all are the same thing. Now we will see one more thing, that is the dependency injection. Yeah, so we will see the dependency injection. Where is the dependency injection? Yeah, create a dependency. Okay, so what is the dependency injection means? So let's suppose you created one application, and that application has this flow, and after the business logic it will insert the data into the production database. But during our testing phase, you don't want to insert the data into the production database, because when you do the testing you will insert some dummy data ABC, PQRST, right? So you don't want to corrupt the production database. So you want you will use the same flow, you will use the same application, even you don't want to create a different instance of that application. You will use the same code, same application, but rather than inserting into the production database, you want to insert into the test database, right? So we have to create some way so that during our testing the data should insert into the test database, and when we put this application into the production, then the database will be the data will be get inserted into the production database, right? So this is called as a dependency injection. So injection means we are injecting something. Dependency means so it has dependency. If we want some data into the testing database, it should go into the test database. If we want to in the production database, it should go into the production database, right? So you could see create a dependency. So we have to create the dependency. So what we will do, we will open the databases .py file. So as I told you, we have created a one session object, right? Session local. So session local is basically a class. So session maker created a one class session local. Now, so this is a session local class, right? So we will create an object of this particular class. So as I told you, session is a kind of a workspace for the particular database. But now for the dependency injection, we could have a two database. One is the Postgres database, one is the production database, one is the test database. So we need two sessions. So one session for this production database and one session for the this test database. So we will create a one function, get db, and it will return a generator, right? So we have to pass from the typing module. So this is generally a syntax of the typing type hint functionality. From typing we will import the generator. Basically we are telling okay what type it will return generator. Even if you don't tell it doesn't it will not fail, right? And after that we will create a db object from the session class, and we will return this db object. So this is basically a generator. So rather than the return, we will use the yield statement, and then we will use the finally keyword, and we will close the database connection. So it means 1 second. So it is for the dependency injection. So why we use the finally keyword? Whether the database has been established or whether it will throw some error, right? So finally keyword will always use this statement will always execute whether the whether anything successful happen or whether it will throw some exception. Finally block will always get executed. So we have mentioned that okay, finally it will close the database connection. Okay, so because we have to use the two databases, like anytime it should can insert into the production database, and if we pass the test database instance, so it will create a different session for the test database. So it should not use the particular session, because this session is for the production database and this session is for the test database. So we have we created a one session. So for the particular session class, we are creating a session object, or you can say the database object, DB object. Alright, so this is basically object of the particular session, and using the data DB we will like perform all the operation. So it is not a database, it is a basically you can say session object. We define it as a DB because in the you can define it with any name. We are defining it as a DB now. So here if you see it's the dependency injection. So they are defining this is a class. Session local is not a function, it is basically a class. So it create a object of that class, and then it will return that particular object if it is successful. Otherwise it will like close the, not otherwise, always it will close the particular session. Alright, so we have like performed the dependency injection as well. So in this video, like we could see, so user will send some request, it will go to the fast API. So we will not validate things. Let me save it. So we will not validate things ourselves, but whatever the schema is user is sending, so this is the schema which user is sending. So we are like we created one file, schemas.py file, and we define the structure. Okay, this should be the structure user should send, and automatically like the validation should be done. Alright, so we have defined this Pydantic schema. So this is called as a Pydantic schema, or you can call it as a Pydantic model. But to avoid the confusion between the SQL Alchemy model and the Pydantic model, we call it as a schemas. Alright, so we create a schemas.py file. So whatever like so many tables we have, so a lot of tables, so we will define the schema for all the tables. But for the time being, let's look just focus on the users table, because in the coming video we will see how to actually create the user. Now we have the schema ready. So basically, so from the front end we will create a one route in the main.py. We will create a one route, post route, and then from the documentation we will hit that particular instance will pass the JSON schema, and it will go to the fast API, and it will like check the particular schema from the schema.py file. It will validate the schema. If it is invalid, it will return some valid response to the user. Otherwise we will like do some kind of processing under the particular route, under the post route, and it will insert the particular database. And we can insert the data into the test database and the Postgres and into the production database, and that's why like we use the like a dependency injection. Control X. So nano databases. So we use a dependency injection as well. So that's why like we like mention the getDB object. So basically by using the getDB object, we can like automatically tell, okay, so we are like creating a session for the test database, or whether we are creating a session for the production database. If we are doing the testing in our test environment, then within the getDB function, like we will pass our test databases, and if it is the production databases, then within the get databases we will pass the production databases, because session local is linked with the engine, and engine is will link the databases. So that's why like it will automatically see okay which database I have to like perform the testing. Okay, so yeah, so that's the end of the video. So we see the flow, we see what is the Pydantic models or Pydantic schema. We could see the dependency injection as well. Alright, in the coming video we will see how to actually create the user, how to insert the data. But before that, schema validation should be done. So that's why like we first see the schema validation. Alright, so thank you. That's the end of the video.